This week, we'll be going over all of the achievements in the Callisto Protocol. There are 26 achievements in the game with an average completion time of about 17 hours. When it comes to the points that it's going to be worth over on the achievement tracking websites, over on A-Stats, since it's new, it doesn't have any yet. On Steam Hunters, it's going to be 4,839 and 8,446 over on Metagamerscore. And now, let's get to hunting. Completing the Callisto Protocol currently only takes one playthrough and can be done on any difficulty, for now. The protocol is live for beating the game on maximum difficulty can currently be cheesed pretty easily. They might patch it later on, but hey, for now, take advantage of that cheesy goodness. So right now, you're able to run through the game on the lowest difficulty, or whatever difficulty you want, and then after you get through the last big boss fight, and gain control again, you can set the difficulty to maximum security and then finish out the last small chunk of the game. And right now, that'll get you the Protocol is Life achievement. If it doesn't pop that first time when you finish the game, don't worry too much, just restart the game and load up your save at the end after the boss. Make sure your difficulty is still set to maximum difficulty and then finish it again and you should get it. Something about reloading the save with it already set to maximum tricks the game into thinking that you did it the entire run. Of course, you'll also get I Do Belong Here when you first complete the game on any difficulty. Just play through it to the end for that one. Now, as for story-related achievements that are going to be unmissable and directly tied to reaching certain milestones in the story, we have the Outer Way for finding the Outer Way boarding craft in the first chapter, Desperate Times for when Elias gives Jacob a shiv in the second chapter, If the SHU Fits for activating the SHU in chapter 3, Without a Paddle for surviving the pipe slide in chapter 4, Crash Site for returning to the crashed ship in chapter 5, In the Pipe 5x5 for reaching the hangar flight deck also in chapter 5, Power Up for restoring power to the old facility also in chapter 6, Two Heads Are Better Than One for taking down the Two Head right after that in chapter 6. You can't survive without doing this one, so I'm just gonna count it here. It's just one of those big two-headed enemies that you end up fighting a few times past this point. What Lies Beneath for finding the source in chapter 7, and then Full Circle for being thrown back into your original cell at the end of chapter 7. Now, as for the other achievements in the game, we have Flesh Wound for using melee or ranged weapons to take both arms off of an enemy. You'll honestly just do this early on without trying, so as long as you're getting into melee combat with enemies, this shouldn't be anything to worry about. Paper Jams is for printing a weapon for the first time. This will just be for printing a weapon at one of the 3D printers in the game. It's at least heavily implied that you need to do this at one point in the story, so I probably could have put it in the story achievements, but it's still not directly a story-related achievement. But closely related to that last one, we have Reforged for printing a weapon upgrade. This is also in the 3D printer, and you just have to do one of these upgrades on a weapon to get this to pop. Then there's You Need a Gun for fully upgrading one weapon. This will just be for going down the upgrade path on a weapon until you max it out. Some of the later ones are a bit easier to do as there are less upgrades to go through. The Commonality for finding the 2 secret rooms hidden in the game. These are going to be 2 of the rooms where collectibles are at, so you'll want to pull up my collectible video and go through those, and as long as you're doing those, you're going to get this achievement. Now, if you made it this far, you've probably liked the guide up to this point, so I'll do the YouTuber thing and ask that you like the video, subscribe, and comment down below to let me know that you've made it this far. And if you want to go a step further, hit the join button below the video to join the member club for as little as 99 cents to help fund future video production. Now, let's get back into it. Next will be Workplace Hazard for using the GRP to kill an enemy by throwing them into an environmental hazard. You'll have to do this after you obtain the GRP glove, of course, but you'll just need to grab an enemy and then throw it into one of the spike contraptions, a spinning contraption, or something like that to kill them. Related to that, we have Chew 'em Up for killing 10 enemies with environmental hazards. This can be done similarly to the last achievement, or even by just smacking enemies back to where they fall into one or get in the way of an environmental hazard. Then Get a Grip will be for just grabbing 25 enemies with the GRP. Very self-explanatory, just grab 25 enemies and you'll get it. You don't even necessarily have to kill them with it or anything like that, just picking 25 up in general is good. The last GRP related achievement is in striking distance for killing an enemy by GRP and melee combo. This is going to be where you use the GRP to grab an enemy and get close enough to it quickly to smack it and finish it off. You may have to try to get it weak beforehand to try to time it to where you'll finish off the enemy with a melee hit, so this can pop. Next up will be Terminated for taking down a security robot. You can do this at a few places throughout the game, but the first real opportunity you have is in Chapter 3. The robots can be tough to take down early in the game, but basically just pop out of cover to take a few shots at it, go back into cover, and then keep repeating that until it finally falls. They have a pretty expensive item to scrap as well to make it worth taking them down. Float like a butterfly is for perfect dodging 5 times. This doesn't have to be in a row or even without dying, so just find an enemy every once in a while or farm it off of one enemy and wait until they lunge at you. As they're lunging, you'll want to hit the dodge key or move your stick to dodge, and if you do it successfully, time will slow down slightly, letting you know that you did it perfectly. Then giving back will be for stabbing 5 blind enemies in the back. You can start working on this once you get to Chapter 6, where the blind enemies are introduced. Just sneak up behind them and execute 5 of them to get this. You'll have plenty of opportunities to get these kills. Next is Mugshot for taking a photo using the photo mode. Super simple, just go to the menu, go to photo mode at some point as you're playing the game, and take a photo somewhere. Super easy to do it. And then the very last achievement is going to be Grim Reaper for harvesting and reading all implant bios. Now there are going to be 43 of these scattered throughout the entire course of the game, so I made a video specifically going over all of these in order. So I'd recommend pulling that video up as you play through it yourself and follow along as I show you where all of these implants are. And with that, we have all of the achievements in the Callisto Protocol. Now be sure to check out my playlist for my other Callisto Protocol achievement guides or whichever one of my videos YouTube recommends.